This newspaper was thought so dangerous that the British government shut it down. This is The Worker's Friend, a Yiddish anarchist newspaper that was published in London in the East End between the 1880s and the 1910s. When I was reading about this, the book I was reading said it was the best-selling Yiddish anarchist newspaper in the country, and I was like, yeah, alright, that's a very specific record. But it turns out there actually was a bit of competition in this field. People just really liked making newspapers back then. I guess it was the 1900s equivalent of having a blog. And being in Yiddish rather than English actually increased its reach globally because Jewish communities all over the world could read it. People were sending off for this thing from the US and Russia and Poland. It was run by a mostly Jewish group of anarchists in the East End who had a clubhouse in Stepney, and you could go there and take classes or borrow books. They did trips to the British Museum and the Epping Forest. One visitor said, if it wouldn't be for the club, I might never have read a book. Lenin used to go there and sit in the corner and not talk to anybody, and their opening was attended by Peter Kropotkin. They weren't always popular with the rest of the Jewish community because they were non-religious and they would do things to deliberately piss off religious Jews. They would publish articles mocking religion, or they would hold parties on Yom Kippur when you're supposed to be fasting and going to synagogue. One member of the group, J.L. Fine, once marched on Brick Lane Synagogue in a big group where everybody was holding ham sandwiches. But this isn't why they get shut down. They get shut down because of their editors, Rudolf Rocker and Millie Whitkop. Whitkop was a Ukrainian refugee who worked in tailoring sweatshops to raise the money to bring her family to come and live with her. Rocker, when he got given the editing job, he didn't speak Yiddish. He wasn't Jewish, he was just German. But he starts learning Yiddish and the paper gets really successful with them at the helm. They were both supporters of free love and they refused to get married even when US immigration wouldn't let them through because they were unmarried. They had to get back on a boat and go home. Whitkop said, "Do you suggest I would consider it dignified as a woman and a human being to want to keep a husband who doesn't want me only by using the powers of the law? How can the law keep a man's love?" When World War I breaks out in 1914, the group is split on whether to support it or not. The newspaper publishes articles from both sides, but Rocker and Whitkop are both anti-war. Since Rocker is German, this is seen as subversive Kraut machinations designed to weaken our fighting spirit. And he is imprisoned for the duration of the war, genuinely just for being German and against the war. In 1915, the police turn up at the newspaper printing press and they shut it down. Whitkop is arrested the next year and she also spends the rest of the war in prison. After the war, he gets deported to the Netherlands and she goes with him, killing the London Yiddish anarchist newspaper industry. For now.